Hello and welcome back to Hudson Auto Films. Today we are continuing the incredibly exciting task of bracing our very, very rusty Aston Martin. If you didn't see the last episode, we built this rather divine frame which connects everything to the front, and that is all very nice. And now we need to do exactly the same from up there into the rear. Obviously this panel here is not, actually that sounded very solid, it's not. That's better, that's the noise we wanted. That panel is not very solid, so we're going to cut an area out. This whole panel is available to buy, so it will be replaced, which is nice. So we can cut that out, and then we can brace through there to a structurally sound area.
Yeah, that's where that is.
That's one of those quick release windows.
There's a shelf across here that goes into the boot, so we don't want to cut into that. There.
Yeah.
Which is 80 mil. And then if we go up 80 mil from there,
Yeah.
and there,
And
we'll
across.
line across here, and then that's what we'll cut out. So we'll be just below that shelf.
Excellent. So that will give us all the access without...
Yeah, and that gives us a run straight through to that.
Nice.
That
Yeah.
first member there,
Perfect.
part of the chassis.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Ooh, there's a cable. Hey,
Hey,
keep that.
thank you. What are you laughing at?
Just this car.
We now have a big hole in our rear bulkhead. You can see we have that very large structural piece. Well, it is actually a bolt-on piece, but there's nothing else we can really brace to that is strong enough. So it will still allow me to drop all the suspension, everything like that, but I'll have to leave that big beam in for a portion of the restoration. What's the plan of action? Going to brace from these bad boys.
Yeah, we'll run some more blocks from here to there, I reckon.
Yeah.
And
So you think a straight line?
yeah, why not?
So not a diagonal?
Well, we can't run from the very top here
Yeah.
to there because this shelf in here where the fuel tank sits, it gets in the way. We don't want to cut it out.
Yeah.
And these seem pretty close in line. If we run one straight back,
Mm-hmm.
we can then brace down to somewhere along.
Somewhere on it. Nice. So that's quite easy, really.
Oh yeah.
So Isaac is going to cut it to length, and then we're going to figure out the little curvature on the end, or the angle, and then copy it, then we'll have the same each side, then we weld it in. Look at that.
Go.
The car did just move though, the whole car did.
Oh, it did, didn't it?
Why do you think the whole car is moving?
Well, it's just because this bit's unbraced.
But what I'm saying is, obviously, as you pushed it further this way, the car kind of contorted. Yeah, like that. How do we know if it should be? So this is the solid side, yeah?
Yeah.
So maybe we should put it on this side first, because, and then whatever that side, then pull that side in or push it out to what it should be. Because this side is not going anywhere. We've still got a pretty solid sill. Don't look at the bottom bit, but that side's completely on the... We initially put the beam on this side, but because that side is so weak, where the beam was positioned completely contorted the chassis. So we moved the beam to this side, which is a very solid side of the car, got everything measured up, cut another identical beam, and now we can fit the beam on that side, knowing the tolerances of this side, if that makes sense. Because obviously you want everything to be identical each side.
Good.
The back end is kicked out a little bit on the passenger side, so using the ratchet strap, we're going to pull it into the position we need and then weld it in place. We've done all the measuring and all the important things, so it's just getting it to sit where it needs to. Keep it coming. Oh, no, oh. One more? Yeah, beautiful. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's sitting beautifully now. Okay, so it's a brand new day. Yesterday we managed to get the last of the, in my opinion, the really significant bracing done when it comes to at least measuring and everything like that and precision. Now it's just reinforcing everything. So we'll be doing the members down from our rectangular frame you can see up there, down to the rear rails we just put in, bracing this thing up. So obviously, because right now just two going down is not very rigid at all, so we'll be going across and then some diagonals and all that fun stuff. So now we're really fleshing it out, so when we turn it around on the rotisserie, nothing goes bad. Also, I apologise if video quality in the last couple of episodes has been a bit all over the place. Obviously, we're recording in the home garage, which is a lot less spacious, and the lighting is appalling, and usually we're working at night, just trying to get things done, but things will return to the barn very soon. So to kick things off, I'm going to put some braces across this back section. Then I'm going to brace from up here to as far back as I can here. And then we'll assess it for strength and see where else we need to add any, if at all. Then I'm going to be putting a member roughly there and one here, and then brace down to our structural points. I'll be doing that one and be doing that one. I won't be doing this one because it will limit, well, first of all, it's not a directly clear run. If you look, the bulkhead obstructs it, and the bulkhead will be being removed, so we don't want anything in the way. Then after I've done that, some sill spacers, we'll start messing around here, all that sort of thing. So lots of work to be done. Right, so now we've got those ones in, we're going to go from up here down to there. I only got 2 hours of sleep today, so I can't really communicate. I'm just going to weld. I just need to tack the tops in, then I can reposition the bottom until it's all nice. Just need to bring a weld down so this sits flush. If you're wondering why I'm cutting off such a small piece here, it's because our long frame actually angles in, so I've got a little bit of an angle to take into account. Absolutely messed that old girl up, but oh well. So a lot of the front is done. I still want to do some diagonal beams, but the part of the car I'm least comfortable with now is the back, and I'll show you why. I know it's not much, but it's still just jiggling around, so I want to next focus on here to there. We've really strengthened the main chassis of the car, but now it's just the rear end, which is mainly just pieces of sheet metal. It's just a bit wobbly. So I'm going to weld from here to there, then we're going to connect from these through the back into the parcel shelf kind of area. And then everything should be communicating with each other and nice and solid. So I do have a reference for what that should be, but I'm going to measure it anyway. And I have a feeling this side, the far side, will need to be pulled in. As mentioned before, this side is very solid still. It's there. That is responsible for most of the jiggling as well. So just like the rear chassis had to be pulled in a bit, I have a feeling we'll have to pull that side in a bit, but we'll see. 1 meter and 106 millimeters. Right, so I've got everything set, and this is where things get a bit annoying, or just you have to live with them, because these are handmade. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. Everything is in. This is exactly the same distance from that member. Everything is square. And then if you look, we're kind of basically on that corner. But if I take you to the other side, you can see we are past that corner, and this side is higher. You can see it's about 1 millimeter higher. And upon further investigation, this part isn't solid, but this part is very solid. And thinking about it, with everything this car has gone through, I don't think any of this would have twisted. You've just got such a strong area. I just don't see this moving too much. So I think that is probably how it was from the factory. We've already seen far worse, but I'm going to have to live with that. Tack it in and just know that's where it lives. Okay, so now the whole car is basically braced, except for the boot area. So I'm going to have a little think, and I'd like to create a basic frame in the boot that we can then connect to our main frame, so it just is a bit more rigid. It's a lot less important because it's not structural in the same way, but it'll make things easier down the line if we get it nice and rigid now. So I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to crack on and not talk, and you'll see what I'm doing. And then hopefully we can get it on its wheels and outside, and we'll have a braced car. I could be clever and cut a bit out, but this is not an important piece, so it's just not worth it. Okay, so now the rear end is all connected. We've got a bar there, connection, 2 bars there. Ignore those welds, they need to be changed, but I'm chasing light. Then it all goes through, so now it's very solid. So for the first time in a couple of weeks, I'm going to put the wheels on and pull it outside. Here she is. F*** off. There we have it. An almost fully braced Aston. So I had to rush the last bit because I'm desperate to get this video out tomorrow. So a couple of little bits need redoing. Those 2 beams there are just scrap, so I just need to cut those properly, put them in, and then I also need to put a pillar from here down to there on both sides, because even though the back is a huge amount more solid, we've got this kind of, that will flex there. Front end wise, I want to do a cross beam, but I think you've all seen quite enough bracing for one lifetime, so I'll do that behind the scenes. But yeah, I'm pleased. It is a very, very, very rigid Aston, which I don't think anyone saw coming, especially how it started. But she is square, she is rigid, and that is a huge achievement for something that was so not those things. But yeah, this back area is a disgrace, but as I said, I just wanted to get it done so you guys know the concept, essentially. But I'm going to redo that one, so that everything's flush. That's why they're all, you know, a bit all over the place. Probably put a couple more in the boot going back to the rear bulkhead, but then we'll be good. I feel an absolute shell of a man, but we got there. It's the mouse. What a day it has been. I feel like a shell of a man, and I don't know if I'm still alive. I might be dead. But the car is now more or less fully braced. As I mentioned, I need to go back and redo a couple of little bits. I also need to put in sill spacers, which, you know, you kind of get the idea, are perfectly separating the sills. It will just make it easier when I put new sills in. I'm going to put in a few more diagonal pieces here and there, but don't worry, that'll be ready for you next week. You won't have to watch it. I'm braced out. I know you're braced out. So what is next? Well, it's basically rotisserie time. So I need to drop the axles, all that sort of thing, put the mounts for the rotisserie on, which I'm not quite sure if there's good places to bolt them on or if I should weld them on. That's an adventure for next week. Then I get on the rotisserie, final bit of strip down, then it is ready to be blasted. Since the last episode, I've thought more about blasting, and what I've kind of concluded is that we'll be fine as long as we use the right media. I've been talking to a few specialists. I've been talking to a company who are going to do the blasting, and they've said essentially it'll be fine. They'll just use a lighter media. And I think that sounds good to me. The car looks a lot worse in the videos. There is actually still a lot of structure to the car. There's a lot of flaky rust and things like that as well, and a lot of holes, but the car will survive it. And also psychologically, I want to get rid of any metal that is remotely useless. The idea of preserving thin metal just because we can seems a bit stupid. We're trying to make a really good car again, and we're never going to do that if the car is a patchwork of new metal, some solid old metal and thin old metal. So I'd much prefer to be left with less but really good metal, then we can fill in all the gaps. That sounds a lot better to me. But of course, let me know your opinions. And yeah, I think that's all for today. I'm gonna go home and sleep for 9 days. But until then, please like, share, subscribe, comment, all that sort of thing. Check out the Patreon, check out the merch. Any money made from those things just goes straight into the channel. I'm now trying to do this more consistently, what started off as a bit of fun is now a huge amount of fun, and slowly I'm able to dedicate more time to it, and things like the merchandise all help me do that. So thank you again, and I will see you next week, and we'll have another adventure. But until then, take care, and I've lost it. I've lost the plot. Until then, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.